Hello, and welcome to Sunny Days Podcast, the podcast for folks to start living their grooviest, most magical lives. I'm your host, Alex the Good Witch, a professional psychic, healer, speaker, and coach. I use my degree in biochemistry, experience as a mental health provider, and spiritual gifts to align your subconscious programming with your conscious desires, guiding you into your dream reality. Here, you will receive practical guidance, insight, and stories that you can apply to create your happiest, most fulfilling life today. If you're ready to feel lit up, capable, and inspired, I invite you to join me on this sunny day. Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Sunny Days Podcast. Today I have my first live guest with us, Cecily.
Hi guys!
Cecily is the owner of Twin Star Yoga. Me and Cecily met 2 years ago at a holiday boutique pop-up back when I was doing small business pop-ups. She was actually a yoga teacher at the yoga studio that was holding the pop-up. And then 6 months later, I was doing another pop-up and someone just comes by and is like, hey, I'd like a chakra reading. And I was like, I know you. And it was Cecily. And she just happened to be out and about that day as like a patron. And we like totally ran into each other and hit it off. She has the best energy. And yeah, I'm just happy to have her on today.
I can't believe the way the universe brings everyone together. Yes. See, you can't avoid it. I love it.
Yes,
so meant
exactly. To be. So yeah, if you'd like to introduce yourself and a bit of what you do.
Yes, well, I'm Cecily. I've been a yoga teacher since 2016. And I just recently opened a yoga studio, Twin Star Yoga, which I love. It's like my favorite thing ever. And slowly I'm just growing my community and trying to encourage people to have a sustainable yoga practice, not just yoga, but a physical practice as well. And it's been such a journey so far being a new entrepreneur in 2023. It's tough, but it's exciting. So I'm just on the journey myself and it's been really, really fun.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I love it. Yes, I love the whole entrepreneurial world. And I'm excited definitely to dig into that as well as pick Cecily's brain on, you know, how yoga and fitness and just different physical routines can help us, you know, live our happiest lives. For sure.
The physical can really go into that beautiful mental health and really help change your life. You got to do it. It's worth it. Commit to it, right? And it's so funny because people are like, oh, I never have time. But it's like, wow, let's create time, right? That's one of the biggest things. I was listening to this amazing podcast the other day, and it was like, well, if you have an entire list of things that you can be doing, write down your top 10 most important things that matter to you, you know, and then you'll realize all the other things that you didn't write down that you're wasting your time on. And instead, why are we living our life on things that we don't actually care about? Like we need to really make that top 10 a priority and focus on that instead. So it's really big.
That. Yeah, I love the point too about things that we don't actually care about. I feel like a lot of those things may be pressure from other people or things that we feel like we should do, things that maybe we could even delegate or do without. I know a lot of the readings that I do, a lot of the messages is you need to clear things off your plate, you know, and you need to focus certain things. And even when it comes down to like keystone habits, you know, a lot of times, so for those who don't know, keystone habit is a habit that just unlocks all of these other habits that you want to have in your life. So for a lot of people that can be a physical routine, and in doing that, now they, you know, eat in a way that they, you know, that aligns better with them. And now they, you know, sleep better. And it domino effects to all these other things where instead of having all of these things to do and to focus on, there's like this one core habit that just naturally allows for all that.
I love that. You said that so well. As soon as you said the physical and then you were like eating well and I was like, yes. Because as soon as I do yoga, it's like I'm less hungry. Instead of reaching for something really sugary, I'm like, oh, I would like to eat this vegetable. And it's not saying that you can never eat candy or never, you know, whatever. but it's just, you get excited about creating better and better habits.
Yeah.
And you do sleep better. And what's so amazing too, is it's such a social thing too. So even you're getting out of the house, you can bring a friend, you can see them. Because nowadays as adults, it's so hard to see friends. You know what I mean? It's like you blink and a week goes by and you're like, I haven't seen my friend in a month or whatever. And it's like, you can come together and hang out with your friend during your practice, chat for a second after, and then leave. And it's like, you get to have that beautiful connection. So there's so many amazing benefits to adding something, even if it's just, I try to say twice a week is best for your starter, because you can commit to, you know, what is it, 120 minutes in a week. Very, very doable. But for a practice, if you can go 3 to 4 once you get up to it, then that's so important. Because I think too, people are like, well, I have to go every day. And then it's not sustainable and they get too overwhelmed and then like, you know, I haven't gone in a couple of days, whatever, I'll just not go anymore. But if you can commit to once a week for a month and then add twice a week to, you know, the next month, then it makes everything a little bit more doable, and you can kind of pat yourself on the back a little bit.
For sure. And less like a chore too, because you're getting all those benefits, you're more connected to your body, all those other things are unfolding, and it's like, I feel like you would want to just incorporate more, even naturally incorporate more, instead of like going right out the gate with forcing yourself to put this pressure on, you know, a certain amount of time.
Because after that first day, you're like, I did feel better today. You know, like it was nice that I worked out. And then you sort of, instead of putting the pressure on, you're not stressed about it. I agree. I think that's so lovely. So I think if you guys can just find something they like doing. Like I meet people and they're like, oh, I'm a runner and I'm trying to run, but I don't really like it. I'm like, so why are you running? Choose kickboxing, choose swimming, choose, you know. That's why at my studio I tried to create a lot of different types of classes. So sometimes people are like, try bar, and we have bar fusion, which is really fun, and we have sculpt with weights, so you sweat a lot and it's kind of tough. You have breath work if you just want to release something. We have yoga, we have restorative. So it's like, if you wake up one day and you're like, I don't have any energy, but I really want to move my body a little bit, it's like, do restorative, lie down, relax, and you're gonna feel better afterwards. So it's nice.
That's awesome. I love that it's really about the connection with your body, and like that's what you're doing. It's not necessarily for certain results or like a certain type of, you know, box of what fitness is. It's really about what is the best way that I can connect to my body.
Honor what I need today, right? It's so important. And when you actually get to stay present for that, then it becomes so much easier as well, right? And they say that stress happens when you've lost sight of the present, because as soon as you start to think about the to-do list, it's like you get stressed, and it's like, whoa, what are we doing right here, right now? Like we're sitting, we're all enjoying it, or we're relaxing, or we're breathing, and just try to stay in the present as much as you can. And that's what I love about yoga, is it really helps recognize, like, you walked into this room for 60 minutes, you know that it's going to be 60 minutes, so you've set the time aside, so you don't have to worry about the outside world right now. Like the blinders are on, you get to just focus on your breath or your movement, and it's really nice.
I love that. And something that you mentioned that I want to talk to you about too is you talked about how when people come to the classes, that's also an opportunity to connect with others, you know, maybe their own friends, or meet new people. And that's something that I've always loved about you in your work, is that you're very big on cultivating community. So what is that like for you? What inspired you to have that be such a focus?
So when, you know, the pandemic happened, I created Twin Star Yoga. So I've had technically my business for at least 2 years now. Oh my gosh, 3 years now. But it was one of those things where I was just recognizing that small businesses, were shutting down, which was breaking my heart, because small businesses are like the cornerstone and the backbone of life. I just every time, sometimes I'll go into a store and the person will be like, oh, this is my business, and I just want to cry. Like, I just want to, I'm so proud of you. It's overwhelming to me. I just got chilled. I just am so proud when people follow their, you know, their dharma or whatever, and it's, you know, their journey. So once that started happening, I was like, we have to protect small businesses. Like, what can we do? So I sort of created Twin Star Yoga, my own small business in a way, to bring other small businesses together to promote, because you know, Amazon, it's great. I shop on Amazon sometimes because you don't know where to buy things until you know. And it's like, oh, I need a candle, and it's like, well, let me just buy it offline, whatever. But there's maybe a candle maker, you know, 2 doors down, which is an amazing person, and they put their love and their heart into it, and it's like, you didn't know about it until someone told you. So I wanted to allow for a space where people can come together and like, I do this and I do this and I do this, and you can share the word and spread it. And so after that sort of occurred, I got to really create communities, and I recognized that the pandemic, a lot of us were then sort of told to like close our doors on people and like kind of not touch and not be around each other. And that broke my heart too, because I think not necessarily physical connection, but sort of, I mean, physical connection and connection mentally and emotionally is so important. And I learned that when I moved to Australia for university, like in 2012 or 2013, I was really lonely. I was like really isolated. I sort of isolated myself. I was away from my partner, my husband. And I just sort of went into this little depression, and I was living with my lovely aunt, the sweetest human ever, but they're not super huggers. And it was really interesting. And I like one day I was really sad, and my cousin was like, do you need a hug? And I was like, yeah. And he hugged me, and I hadn't been hugged in 3 months. Oh my God. And it wasn't because they didn't love me, but it was just, and I cried. I like had forgot what it was like to be embraced, and it was so special. And so I think witnessing how people were reacting so harshly to the pandemic, I was like, let's come together, let's do park yoga, let's just chat about our dreams, let's do something, you know. And so that's really how Twin Star Yoga was born.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I love that it's so much more than just a yoga practice. It really was like they're bringing everyone together, and it's so cool because it's not just bringing people who practice yoga together. Like you said, like I've been to your studio where you had a small business pop up and you're all there, and like the most wonderful people were there, the most amazing small businesses, and you just really attract like really amazing, genuine people. And I feel like anyone can just make a connection in that space that's just so naturally, you know, magnetic to those good type of people that you want to be around.
That's like the highest compliment. Yeah. Lovely. No, because honestly, that's all I want. I think like me, I wish I had a million different talents. You know, I wish I could do all the things. But I do think I want to be able to like be like a gateway. I think because I want people to be able to discover things. Like that's why I have so many different teachers that offer things that I can't teach. I have a Reiki teacher, and I have a breathwork teacher, and I have a sound bath teacher, and I have other yoga teachers that have these beautiful, you know, skills on how to instruct people. And I just want someone to walk in and feel like, okay, I can be here, I can take my mask off, I can be messy, and now I have a place where I can discover myself. And I want to have that open door policy where people are allowed to just be confused. You know, like let's figure it out together. And at the same time, we'll never figure it out, you know, like we're just always searching, and that's really beautiful. And I feel very, very blessed to be in the place that I am. I have a wonderful community, and it's nice. I actually did like a poll on my Instagram the other day, and I was like, what do you like best about like a boutique studio, like somewhere that's pretty small? And I was like, you know, is it that the teachers know your practice? And people were like, yes. And I was like, is it like the small class sizes? And they're like, yes. And I was like, is it because you know everyone that walks through the door? And they're like, yes. And it's so cute. And even the people that I have, if I have like a new person walk in, they're like, hi, I'm this person. Like they introduce themselves. And it's just like, it's just lovely. Like it's not like, oh, okay, there's a new person, I'm going to show them my best handstand, and they're going to feel like they can't do yoga, you know. They just automatically want to get to know the person that walked in the door, and it's just beautiful.
That's really awesome. It seems more like a center, honestly, than just a studio, like a center. And the classes are really classes in that way, like your classmates in it together, in the process together.
There's so much giggling. Like sometimes I'm just like, what are we doing? We're trying to shush everyone. It's really cute. It's just so fun. And it's funny, like being a small business owner is very difficult, as you know. Oh my gosh, the hustle is real. I've never cared about something that way. Like I don't have kids, but I imagine it's what it's like having a kid. You raise it, you grow it, you want it to grow, you stare at it all the time. Like you're giving your love, your energy to it, you know? And it's so hard, and it's so interesting. I go on holiday, not very often nowadays, but I would go, you know, I think, I went to my brother's wedding, and it was wonderful. And I was gone for like 4 days, and I like was so excited to go back. Like I missed it. And that's what's great. It's really wonderful.
Exactly. I feel the same way. And that's like something that I'm really big on. It's just like loving your life. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, or that's something that you maybe want to work towards, or even if it's not, it's just about loving your life. Like I literally have my next class is called I Love Mondays. For that reason. Yeah. It's because I was thinking about like what the class is about and everything. And I was like, the phrase "I hate Mondays" was coming to mind. And it's like, okay, that's what we're working with, that's what we're working from and on to. Like, I love Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And your life is I love Mondays.
It is. I love you every day. Doesn't mean it's not hard. I definitely am an advocate for it. It's tough and you got to really work for it, but you're working for something that you care about instead of for something that you're dreading.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. And that was really, so after, I started in 2020, Twin Star Yoga, I was working at a job that I liked the work, but I had a very negative work environment and it was really treacherous.
Yeah.
And it was a bummer because I had been there for like 8 years. Like I'd been there forever. And I liked the job that I was doing, but every day I would just go in and I would just be so upset. Like automatically you walk through the door and I was just grumpy and I was so mean. Like it was really interesting. Like I was just grumpy and there was this wonderful girl that was working with me and I really liked her, and she kept trying to like chat with me and be my friend. And I actually had to tell her, which was insane. I was like, I don't have enough emotional energy to be your friend.
Yeah.
I've never said that to anyone my whole life, but I had to be honest with her because I just had nothing to give. I was just a shell of myself. And it was so interesting. And I just started putting it out there. Like I do believe in manifesting, and I was like, okay, let me just start telling people that I'm going to leave. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. I'm going to start searching for jobs because I just couldn't be miserable anymore. Like it was like crushing me. And, as soon as I started putting it out there, one of my yoga students came up to me. She's like, hey, would you ever be a yoga teacher at an element, like at a school? And I was like, sure. And she's like, we're looking for someone. You're hired. Like, okay. And I left my job of 8 years to go work for a school, and it was almost summer. So I think I was there for 4 months. That was my contract. It was 4 months. And I had no idea what was going to happen. And I was like, I guess I'll figure it out. And that's the most amazing thing. If you just leap, like you'll find your wings.
Yes.
You have to get out of that comfort zone because otherwise you think there's nothing. There was this really great workshop that I took, and it was like, you're in a 3-walled prison and all you have to do is turn around. That's it.
Yeah.
All you have to do. I just got chills. You're like, there's no way out. I'm stuck here. I can't do it. I can never leave. There's no chance. Okay. I'll just leave.
Exactly. And I tell people too, when it starts to feel that way, like the walls are closing in and like exactly what you were describing, where it's just like the dread builds every single day and it's starting to get in the way of like, you could have met like a friend, and it's just like, I can't even do that. It's starting to get in the way of things. I tell people, look at it as like you're being pushed out.
Yeah.
There's something better for you. It's not meant to just make you suffer. It's not meant to just come down on you just to like punish you. It's pushing you out. It's like trying to get you to go. There's the open doorway, right? In the 3-walled prison. Like there's opportunity over there. Like, why would you do this? And I think a lot of times we really just like dig our heels in and we're like, oh no, it's getting worse and worse and it's awful. And we're just like letting it happen to ourselves. I had a client the other day who I was talking to, and I had worked with them in the past, and we finished up like our work together. And they are leaving their job now from a lot that we've worked on. And they're saying that they are just getting more and more and more mistreated. And they realize that they will never allow themselves to get treated in that way for any reason. Because they have the thought like, oh, but I make good money here. And they're like, why would I allow myself to be mistreated, for that? And that was the realization they had to have, that was like pushing them out into better things.
I really love that. It's so true. If you're stuck in something, get out. It's okay. There is so much goodness in the world and it will attract you to you. I can't even, like, it was such a hard lesson for me. I think it took me a while. I think it took me, I had to create the manifestation of saying that I was going to leave because I had been miserable for about 2 years. So it's tough. Like you can be stuck in it for a while. And you do have to sort of put your foot down eventually, because I think you kind of get like more comfortable with being unhappy, almost like you're sort of like, well, it can't get any worse. And then it gets worse and you're like, okay, well, I'll just like deal with it and I'll figure it out. And it's like, don't deal with it. Just leave. Like it's so not recognizing your potential and your worth when you let society, other people, bosses, whatever, you know, partners, whatever it is, like treat you badly. And you have to really stand up for yourself. And I really like the visualization of like, if you're talking to your inner child, you know, I'm sure you use that one a lot, right? But it's just like so good, because if I was looking at little me, I mean, I would be like, put up with it. You'd be like, and it's nice. My dad, he always says like, you know, as long as you're working towards something, then you're good. You know what I mean? And so just work towards something that brings you joy. Because sometimes I'd be like, well, I'm not making enough money, or I'm not doing this. And he's like, but you're working towards something that you care about. And that's what matters. So I really appreciated that sentiment always. Like I always felt very supportive. My family's lovely. They're very, very supportive. And I think that's also something that I wanted to create, was a supportive community. So you can come and like, you know, you can tell people your problems, and it's not a judgment zone, you know, it's so judgment free. And I really like that too. I joined a small business group, which I super recommend for anyone that is in a small business. You need support. You need people to tell you that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to not know what you're doing, you know, and to feel like scraggly. It's like the word that I use. I feel scraggly. Like I just don't know what's going on half the time. And I joined a really lovely small business group called SC Biz. And it was funny. My friend actually sent it to me on Facebook, and I was like, I'm not gonna go, like, I don't know, of course. And then I was like, just do it, say yes, like just go. And it could be great, or it could, you know, be a disaster. And it was the biggest blessing of my life. Like I went, and it was me and LB, who's the creator of this beautiful group. And it was me and her. We're just like, well, what are we doing? And now there's like 40 plus people in this group. And it was amazing. And I literally met her like when I first started my journey of opening a studio, and it was great. She was like, well, you need this and you need this, and maybe you think about this. And if anything would come up, I'm like, I don't know how to, you know, advertise. She'd be like, well, try this. And I'd be like, okay. Just
exactly.
Like,
try something.
Allow yourself to not be perfect. I think that what really helped me, because like even creating a website, I was like, well, let me like not publish it until it's like 100% exactly the way that in my mind I would create perfection, as if I know how to do that, you know? And then I was like, just publish it. And I published it, and it was like half done. And I was like, whatever. And then I got to work on it, and I built confidence on it, and people were like, this is kind of funky, change it. And I'd be like, okay. And it was great. Like you just have to release that perfection and be okay to sort of stumble around and like grow and find your legs a little bit, and then it works out.
That's the best life lesson, I feel like, of entrepreneurship, not just for entrepreneurship itself, but like for life. Is to be way more comfortable with process, with messiness, with failure, with all of these things I feel like we have such a hard time with. But like all of life is that, you know, like when you think about it, there is like, our brains are always like, okay, then there's end goal, and there's end goal, and there's end goal. But we all know that whenever we get to whatever that end goal is, if we get there, we've already thought of a different goal. We're celebrating that. We think that we will. We think that we'll be so happy and content when we get there, and it'll be this nice plateau. By the time we get there, there's already another one inside. You're not even celebrating it. The whole thing is process. So it's such a great, it just really throws you into the trial of having to learn that lesson, entrepreneurship. Like throws you into, hey, it's all a process. Love the process, get comfortable with it. And something that I wanted to mention too, that it kind of ties to, is as far as you know, things like leaving and quitting. Like if you are like dreading your job and things like that, the first step, as Cecily kind of mentioned, is freeing your mind. You know? So I feel like there's that perfectionism where it's like, well, I have to just do it, right? Like I have to just do it. And then there's puts this pressure. And sometimes it's totally valid if you can't, like either literally, or you just feel like you can't. Like everyone's financial situation and opportunities and things like that are different. And like freeing your mind is such a huge step that's really often overlooked. And it's like how you said, I'm going to leave, like start speaking and start actually just being like, I will leave, I will do this.
Yeah.
Instead of just having this pressure of like, I need to quit, but then not quitting, you know,
right.
I need to
or like
quit
I have to have a job lined up and then do this. And then I have to like have this like grocery list of things to accomplish before I can.
Yeah.
And it's like, absolutely not. You know, I really believe in pivoting.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you're going this way. Oh, there's a roadblock. Pivot.
Yes.
Because, you know, obstacles create opportunities. And I really appreciate that. And I really love that because there's a lot of people that I know and I'm like, oh, you know, they'll be telling me something like, I was going to do this, but then this happened. So, and I was like, well, did you try this? I don't think I can try. Just do it anyway and pivot and pivot and pivot until you find the right path, until there's, you know, an open door or whatever. Don't say no. Like no is just the biggest shutdown of your life. If you say, I can't, you're closing the door, you know? And it's just crazy that like as little kids, we're encouraged to fall and get back up so often. And somehow as we become adults, we're like, oh, you fell, you failed. And it's like, since when? Why is this failing? If I'm falling down, I should be like applauded. I should give myself a pat on the back because I'm trying something new. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. Why do I have to be put into this perfection box and not make mistakes and not figure things out? Like I wasn't given a manual. And so my manual is falling. You know?
Yes, the manual is falling. I love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the path that we talk about, like we're trying to, you know, walk on the path and like go in the right direction. I feel like the path is the obstacles. Like we think it's like a laid out path and it's like, oh, I need to figure out exactly what that path is. You know, I need to do exactly what I want the website to look like to get to the end goal. And like the path is honestly just a bunch of obstacles that like are like pushing you around, you know, like to form the path.
Life is an obstacle course.
I love that. It's not about like this path. It's like pretty through the forest. It's like you going through the obstacles, you know, the obstacle course, and like that is the path.
I agree 100%. And it's just so gnarly that somehow was it society? Like who taught us this? You know, and our sweet parents, they're lovely and they're supportive, and it's not like they were necessarily, and some parents are, but like where do we get this sense of heaviness and sense of dread of trying to be not even just like perfect, but like someone that we're not. Like why can't we just stand so deeply in our truth? Because everyone has so much special things to offer. And even if it's like can't offer everything like me, you can still be a doorway to let people in, or maybe you are, you know, a beautiful Reiki master, or like, you know, all the different things. So I really appreciated when someone told me, they were like, life wasn't designed to make you happy. Like, you know, the universe isn't existing to bring you joy. It's existing, and it's your job to find the joy instead of feeling like you've been slighted. Like if something bad happens, you're like, well, everything's against me. And it's like, no, it just happened. Like it wasn't a negative on you. It's just what happens in the world. And instead of seeing this as a disaster and as a slight towards you, just say, oh, okay, that happened. Keep going. Brush it off. You know? So.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that we interpret as either like punishment and reward, when like really they're just natural cause and effects and things going on. Sometimes they are by our own consequence, sometimes they're not, you know, and it's just a matter of from there doing, like you said, doing what you want to do with it, using it in a way that's going to serve you the best, you know, and being able to let that, you know, guide you and, you know, push you where you need to be, rather than take things as both punishment and reward. Because both, if you get too stuck in one or the other, it's not going to be helpful. Same with like, you know, how people talk about praise and criticism, where it's the same thing. If you're too afraid of being judged, the same goes for attaching too much to praise.
That's interesting. I think I always say like dips, you know, like when bad things happen, it just creates space to plant seeds and grow from there, right? It's like you have to sort of dig a hole to plant a seed. And so when those dips occur, you know, get ready for growth if you let it, but you have to be willing to plant the seed. If you just stare at a dirt hole, you're like, okay, well, nothing's happening. Then you're creating nothingness, you know, like it's time for you to put something into it. And you really can. And it's nice because if you get to stay present, you recognize that nothing is permanent. So bad isn't permanent and good isn't permanent. And we're just continuously like this. And so when you feel high, appreciate it, love it, enjoy it, be thankful, send gratitude, because that will help you, you know, appreciate it even more, just waking up grateful. And then when you're in the dips, just recognize, okay, like good will come again. Like, what can I learn from here? This isn't going to last forever either. Like, let's just kind of keep going.
Yes. I love that. I think that's like such a superpower, is to be able to just take things as they are, you know, and be honest with it, accept it, and use it however, you know, we don't have to force things to always be wonderful and perfect. But we also don't have to take things that are really, really hard and challenging and awful and then just have that be the end all be all. We can just take everything as it is, you know, without being too to not take it so personally either way, you know, and just to see it as it is and just use it however you like.
For sure. I think that people just like to put too much weight on things. They're like, well, this happened, so I can't do this. And it's like, well, just, it's fine, take a breath. You know, and we only feel our feelings for like 17 seconds. So I do really believe in, if something upsets you, you're allowed to be upset. You don't always have to be like, everything's fine, everything's good, everything's happy, I'm the happiest ever. Like, you don't have to always be happy. I love being sad sometimes. I remember when I was a kid, it's like that, you know, teenage angst, like listening to sad music, listening to sad music and like looking out the window, and I was like, I'm so happy, I'm sad, this is so awesome, you know? But like, I would always appreciate being sad because I knew that happiness would come. And I like feeling my feelings. I'm a little bit too much like that. I'm like, okay, now I'm sad. And everyone's like, no one can keep up with what you're feeling. My poor husband, he's like, okay, what are we feeling right now? I just think that feeling your feelings, it's okay, you know, to recognize, okay, I'm a bit sad right now, I'm just going to sit with this and just kind of see like how it is. But then also realizing that you're only technically feeling sad in real life for 17 seconds. And then once that passes, now you're just actually focusing on the reminiscence of what that feeling felt like. So when you feel really mad, you can be really mad. 17 seconds go by and then you're like, okay, am I really going to hold on to this feeling? Am I going to take a breath? Am I going to just let it go? You know, and I really like that, because you can really be in it, be mad, like, you know, not punch anyone, but like, you know, do some air punching or whatever, do some jumping jacks, be really upset, and then just take a breath and just like release it. That's very empowering. It's very much about when it becomes your choice, you know, and your decision, and whatever happened may not have been your choice by any means, and how you feel may not be your choice by any means, and that's all valid. But then there comes to a point where it really is up to you, you know, and you can decide to hold on to it, but just know that if you're doing that and it's not serving you, there comes to a point where you're choosing to do that as it goes on. You know, you don't even choose any of those things. Exactly. I think people sometimes, what I've recognized, I do yoga retreats and wellness retreats. I host them and I really enjoy them. And something that I recognize is some people like to carry their baggage around and they're like dragging it, and I'm like, well, let's like find, you know, something really exciting that happened, and they're like, well, look what happened to me in the past, and they get their baggage out and they're like, but look, and it's like they get to like use this as an excuse, and I'm like, one, it's not an excuse. Everybody has crap happen to them, right? Like we all have had hard times, and you can't really pull this out and use this as a resume why you're grumpy. You know, it's like, ball it up, throw it away, because now you are creating this like crazy drag through your life, and it's making you so heavy, instead of like relishing in your power and saying like, look at all this happened to me, and instead I'm a phoenix, like I rose from the ashes and I figured out something really exciting. I don't, and I'll be like totally honest, like I don't appreciate when people use it as an excuse, because it's like, I get it, you're allowed to be upset about it, and obviously people have triggers and people have things that they need to work through, and some people have a lot harder than others, but it's about being proud of where you stand today. You can't live in the past. You can work on the past and you can learn from the past. But what is that going to bring you? You're always just going to be looking back at all of your baggage instead of creating new experiences and new exciting things. And it's such a good point, like how you said with the excuse and like what that does. And I definitely, for anyone who's watching, who wants to work on that piece, like a huge part is being honest with like, where is it serving you, or like where are you able to use it? Because we don't hold on to those things unless
unless we feel like they're doing something for us, you know, complaining, you know, holding on to things that are ultimately hurting us. We wouldn't be doing them if we didn't think or deep down believe that they were serving some kind of purpose. And I feel like that's the best place to start. It's just being honest of like, what does this story, this identity, this holding on to this experience, these feelings, how am I trying to use this? How am I trying to get this to serve me?
Right.
And then see, you know, all the ways that it's not serving you, right? But like look at the two and be honest about, you know, why that's even there. Cause then it'll be easier to let go. Cause you're like, you know what? Like I've been using this because it does help me, you know, feel like I can make excuses for things. And like, I don't have to be perfect because I could always just bring this up, or, you know, I could use this because then I don't have to rise into my full potential. And that's scary to me. And I can keep myself small with this. Whatever that is, being really honest about that thing that it's doing, or you're subconsciously trying to use it to do. It's really helpful to be able to let that go and move on from it.
Right. There's so much in the world. You have to believe it. You have to believe it. It's so funny. I swear. But it's just interesting because like for me, I'm like a lover. I think the first time I fell in love, I was in kindergarten. Like I just believe in love, and I believe you can love not only people but you know things and experiences, and I search for them. There's so much to love in the world, and it's so funny. I would much rather love and lose than never love at all. And one of my friends was like, no, I'd rather never love at all, and I was like, no. Like, you know, because it's okay if you lose it, you'll be sad, but you know, it comes back around. Like there's so much to receive. There was this one time I was very sad, and my husband was in the military a long time ago, and we would, you know, meet beautiful friends and they would move, and it was so hard to like be a young adult and just continuously have really great people leave your life. And I remember I was so upset driving down the road, and I was just, you know, crying, and I think I had my hand out the window, and I was just like, you know, trying to grab the wind. Like I was just trying to hold on to it. And I was like, I looked over and I was like, if my palm is closed, I'm not able to receive. And so I was like, you have to just open up, and like, yes, things might come into your hand and they might be there for a while. And it's okay if they need to slip away, they have to slip away. They serve their purpose, and you got to share something with them, but like something else will come along. And that's so important. Like, don't close your fist, because now you're not getting able to receive anything, and you're smothering the thing that you're holding on to. And then it can't, you know, see light and grow and be wonderful.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so, oh my gosh, I love that. That's a great analogy. That's so sweet. So how did yoga become one of the things that you love?
Oh my gosh. So when I started the job, my adult job, one of my really good friends that I worked with, he suggested that I try yoga because it would have helped my breath hold, because we were working underwater at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like,
were you a scuba?
I was an underwater egress trainer. So I trained Marines how to get out of helicopters that crashed in the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. It was really fun. It was really good. And so we were in the water a lot in the pool. We had this big simulator, but he was like, you know, you should give it a go. And I was like, no, I don't really just I guess, whatever. And I tried to be a yes woman, so of course I went, and I went and I loved it. It was so amazing, and it was really challenging. I started with Bikram yoga, which is 90 minutes in very high heat. It's like 109 to like 113 in that room. It's so hot. And it's, you know, 90 minutes, which is even longer than a usual class, and it's the same 26 postures. So there's 2 breathing exercises and 26 postures, and you're working hard the whole time. I mean, you're just going for it. And I really liked it because it was very regimented, and for my style of working out, I felt very challenged. And it was cool because I would go 3 times a week. And my instructor knew me, and she would really push me. She'd be like, go hard, you know, lift the leg, blah, blah, blah. And that challenged me, and I liked that. So I did that for about a year. And then that same lovely friend, he was like, well, maybe you should, after he was like, go do the teacher training. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. But he just like saw something, and I was like, oh, okay.
He was like your
he really was
getting some like insight.
He really was. I needed that. It was very, very special. And so I was like, okay. And I walked in, I remember, and I almost ran out of the room. I was like, what am I doing now? But of course I just sat down. I was like, I'm here, I'll just like listen. It was the most amazing experience of my life. Yeah. And then it just kind of went from there, and it was wonderful. So I'm very thankful for that, and for him, and for, you know, finding sort of the path that I wanted to be on, and now I haven't turned back. So yeah, it's just been growing and growing and growing.
I love that. So like, it's very much like how you mentioned Dharma at the beginning. It's something that is just already there waiting for you. It's so made for you, and it's just a matter of, you know, when you get to that point to where you show up for it. You know, whether you're ready for it or like you were guided to it, it's just that time to be there in it and living it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Don't close your palm, open it, because you'll never know what happens.
Yeah.
You know, same with the small business group. I'm like, do I want to go? And it's like, just go. Like, pivot, just go. The worst that you can say is, oh, it was a bit boring and I didn't actually learn too much, but I met a cool friend. Like, see, I always like turn it positive. I'm like, you'll find something good if you let. You know, I think I just heard recently, like, you want to try and find the sparks of joy, right? So instead of triggers, we're looking for sparks of joy. So instead of things that upset you, look for things that make you happy, right? And so when you go to whatever, a meeting, a club, you know, whatever it is, you can find things that you can discover if you just open yourself up and chat with people. That's what I love about people. People know so much, you know, and like, it's so nice to share what you know and what they know. And I think we sort of lost that, like, back in the day, you know, whenever 1800s, 12,000, whatever it was, you know, people were like, I'm the carpenter and I'm the cobbler and like, I make the bread. And we all like had our part to play, and we all sort of needed each other. And, you know, they could teach you, you know, how to cobble your shoes better or like whatever. And that's so nice. And now it's like, I'm so self-sufficient. I don't need you. I don't need you at all. Oh, I don't need you at all. Don't look at me. Like, I'm doing my own thing. And it's like, but what about like what you have to offer and what they have to offer? So I always like to meet people and be like, what do you have to offer? This is what you have to offer. You know?
Oh, I love that. I definitely need more of that. I remember learning that like a lot of that was capitalism that came through that really taught us that, you know, especially with the not being connected to each other. But if you think about it, like the example that was given is that, you know, when things are more community oriented, let's say like we had a lawnmower, right? Then like, oh, if you were my neighbor, like, you know, we shared a lawnmower, right? We're in collaboration with each other. We learn different things from each other. We get to trade all those kinds of things. But in capitalism, it's like, you know, lawnmowers do better in sales if we're all convinced that we just need our own lawnmower, that we can't be, you know, using each other's lawnmower.
That's interesting and very true, right? It's like, wouldn't it be better if we all came in together and bought the lawnmower? Everyone had more money,
so much more money. Oh my gosh, we'd all have so much more freedom and power.
It would be amazing. Like even community dinners, right? It's like you cook one night and then everyone else cooks one night, and it's like you have to only do one, you know, round of dishes, which is nice. But like, it's gonna be, everything's cheaper, and it's just so much fun to do it together. Especially with people that you connect with, because it's not, you don't connect with everyone, and that's fine. Like, you're allowed to not like people and not really get on with some people, but how do you know if you haven't like chatted with them? And like, just grow your community and grow your little circle, and it's just like so amazing. It was funny, I right before the pandemic as well, this is when I moved out to Dana Point. So I was going to F45, like the gym, and I was like, yeah, this is really fun, I really like it. And there was this one girl there, and she was like, hey, I have these like friends, like, do you want to come to this like dinner? And I was like, no, well, okay, like I didn't know anyone, and I barely knew this girl, and she was like, it's at her house, and it wasn't even at this girl's house. And we ended up all going, and it was so funny because every single person there only knew that one girl, and so we're all strangers, and we were like, hey, what's up? And she was like, let's eat or whatever. And then we were like, well, this is cool, because we were all kind of new to the area. And so then we became friends, and I still have a few of those friends today. They're like my closest friends. So it's just
I love that girl.
Oh my gosh, she ended up moving away. I know, because she moved to the East Coast because her husband was in the Marines. And it was just like, it was so awesome. And like, then the pandemic happened, and we like had a close, you know, girls that we knew, and they lived really close by. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like we figured some stuff out. So it was really wonderful.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, all from saying yes and not knowing anybody
Yeah.
and getting to connect with people.
Yeah. And it worked out so well. And it was just so funny because everyone sort of was there looking for the same thing. They just like, they were like, we don't have any friends. You want to be my friend?
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's you now with your studio. Like, oh my god, you're that woman that hosted the dinner, but you're the one with the studio and you're like, oh, you guys so much.
Right. Come in and just like get acquainted and just relax.
Yeah.
Okay, phew, you're good. My friend, one of my teachers just texted me, "Are you at work?" And I was like, "Oh no, it's breaking." It's not. Everything's good. That's the other thing. You have to always like,
yeah,
it's you. It's on you. It's very tiring.
Yeah.
Like something happens or someone quits or whatever, and it's like, well, I guess I'm working harder.
You're everybody. Like I said that when I was first doing just my entrepreneurial thing, and it was all new to me, and like everything would just take longer than you think it would and like be more challenging than you think it would because you are everyone. So like I would be like, oh, it won't take me that long to, do this thing on my site, but then it would be glitchy, or not be working. And it's like, I don't have an IT. I don't get to like submit the IT help desk button. I don't get to like, go to my boss for things and be like, oh, like, should we do it this way or that way? Like, it's just a lot of it's more learning and figuring things out than it is actual like results,
right? Totally. Yeah. I have to say, my poor mum, she was my IT help, and not because she actually knows anything about IT, but she would be my HR. She was my HR. Bless her heart. I'm like, I don't know what paint to color my walls. And she'd be like, this color. I'm like, I hate that color. She'd be like, what about this color? No, like whatever. Poor woman. I called her like 5 times a day, like just being like, no, I don't know what I'm doing with this. And she's just like, I don't know. But she was always answering the phone, always talking me through it. And I'm so stubborn as well. So I'm always like, well, this is what I want to do. And I'd be like, just listen to me. And she's like, okay. She has to like listen and bless. She's awesome. So you always need someone in your corner as well. I think that really helps, and that's why a small business group is great too, because you love your family, and obviously they're great and they're going to help you out maybe, and that would be awesome. But also it's like not their job to help you out, and I think that's something that I've learned really recently is I had to recognize that I care so much about my business, and not that other people don't, but I was expecting everyone to care at the same level. And I'm like, let me tell you the story. And they're like, okay. And then they like wouldn't give me the response. I'm like, you don't care. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, dude, I'm just like chilling. Like, I don't even know. And I was like, then like not being harsh, but putting pressure on people to like care as much. And I was like, okay. First off, reel it in for a second. Yes, I have to care, but I have to recognize and disassociate a little bit when, when I'm not at work or not, but I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, you're always at work. So it is hard. That's something that I'm still working on. It's very hard to like not think that everything's a disaster, I think as well. Yeah. And it's all you. Like, it's not, the business isn't really as separate of an entity as you think it would be. It really is just you. I mean, it's like an artist is their art, like there's no different to an artist. There's no difference between them and the art. And I feel like that's how it is as an entrepreneur, is that like, it's a business entity, but not really. It's really just like me in another form, and that's why the job never ends. And even when you do have good boundaries, like over the years, I've been a lot better at actual work-life boundaries, though. I just think that your work should be, ideally would just be so wonderful, and you want it to be a part of your life, so it's all just kind of commingled. But as far as like working hours, right, I've been better at those kind of boundaries. But at the end of the day, my business is still me, and it has my heartbeat 24/7, It's so hard. I teach over 20 classes a week, and it's a lot. It's very, very tiring. I'm just exhausted as a human, but I love it because now I know everyone. So it's like, it's like if, my sweet friend who doesn't show up, I'm like, she hasn't come in 3 days. Is she okay? I'm thinking about her. And it's funny, I'll usually like think about her. I'm like, I haven't seen her in a while. And then she'll like walk through the door and I'm like, I manifested you. I made you come in. You felt like there was a little like string tugging on you to come. She's like, I gotta come. So it's just nice. And it's like, it's hard though, because eventually maybe I won't have to teach as much, but it's like, but I want to know everyone, and I like want to be so invested in my business. And that's why I like small businesses too, is like they just are so lovely. I was hosting a yoga retreat, and I was like reaching out to like companies just to see if they would like donate like their product or food or like whatever, so people could try it out. And it was so funny. So many big businesses are like, no, we're not going to give you anything for free. That's silly. And I was like, okay, like it just doesn't hurt to ask. And then small businesses are always like, what can I give you? Here you go. Like, and like we had a the small business market that you came to, and there was like a raffle, right? And it was so cute. And I was like, hey guys, if you want to put something in the raffle for everyone that buys something, they get a ticket. And everyone was like, okay, yes, we'll give you this and this. And someone's trying to give me like $120 worth of like their product. And I was like, just give me one. She was like trying to have me like 4 or 5 things. Like they're just the givingest humans alive, and they want to make you happy and they want to help you out. And it's just so wonderful because business is like, well, where's my money? You know? And of course we need money as well, where this is our livelihood, but the heart is really in it. And that's really wonderful to see. I try to offer free yoga at least 1 class a week for like a community class, because and I try to also make my rates as low as possible, because it's like if people need it, I want them to get it, you know. And like, sure, hopefully eventually, you know, I will make money, but I want people to know that this is a place that they can come, they can practice, they can grow. And I know just from there and having that sentiment that it will grow, you know. It'll work out.
That's the beautiful thing with small businesses, is that like they love their product or their service, and they like want people to have it. That's the point. It's not just like they're a big business, like you said, who's just there because like that whatever they make makes profits, and you know, all of that, or you're working for the person making all the profits. It's generally like, I have this beautiful thing, I would like you to have it. You know, whether or not that is like a donation or free, or if it's you know, a lower price, or even if it's a higher price, regardless, it's like, I like want you to have this and to enjoy it, and like I believe in it, you know.
And that's something that's really important too, is I think with entrepreneurs, we think that we have to price ourselves super low, where it's not actually matching the effort that we put in. And that's really, really hard to see that you, because with small businesses, we don't have a factory, like we're not, you know, so it's like if someone's crocheting tops or, you know, whatever, it's like that took 30 hours to make, and they're trying to charge something that's fair, but also to them as well. So I think that's really important to not price yourself out, because otherwise, you know, we're working our fingers to the bone and not getting the profit that we need, and also not wasting our time, but putting our time in and not getting the return.
Exactly. And it's like, you want to be a happy, fulfilled entrepreneur, you know. You don't want to be like over time, like, oh my gosh, there's this disparity. Even if at first you're giving because you want to give, there starts to get this disparity of like, I am not getting enough in return to replenish, you know, like my livelihood and things like that. And to people who shop and who buy, don't let Amazon's prices, you know, compare with small businesses, because you know, and for small businesses, don't try to compare your shop to small for Amazon prices, because when things are so low, like Shein, Amazon, things like that, like keep in mind, like, how did they get it that low? Like, what corners are they cutting? You know, with like with the fair work environments and the things that they're using that are so bad for the environment. Just think of cutting corners, instead of things being like, oh, small businesses, they charge so much. Think of like, when things are very low, it's like, what corners did they cut to get down to that, you know?
Totally. And it's nice because small businesses will usually really put in the effort to be environmentally friendly and be sustainable and all these different things, and it's just wonderful. And so that's why I think creating a platform to get the word out there for all the different things. Like, I have a beautiful candle lady that I love, and she refills the jars. So it's like, you don't have to buy a million new jars. You buy 10 of your favorite. Maybe they're a little bit expensive because they're glass or colorful or whatever. And you buy them from, you know, you could even buy them from Goodwill, like wherever. And then she can refill them over and over and over and over again. And one, it is a little bit cheaper for you because she doesn't have to buy glasses necessarily. I think she does as well, but you get to save a little bit of money on the glass, and then you get a scent that you love, and you're supporting a lady that loves making candles and like finds so much joy from it. So
I love that. And there's plenty of ways too where it's not necessarily true that it's always cheaper to go outside of the small business.
So
There's
true.
so many ways where you save money, like you said, and sometimes you can get like the refills on the candles and things like that. And then other times, like if you can't, it's a lot of the times it's just it'll make you feel better and enjoy your product so much more. Like when you have one thing that's just so intentionally made and there's so much beautiful like energy into it. And like when you use it, you're like, oh, I feel the support of this person's energy, you know, from this rather than buying a bunch of things, you know, like so I'm like buying like 10 shirts like over here, like to have that one that was like made by this person and like it makes you so much more happy. It just has so much more value to you that way. Then, you know, that's always the route to think of it too, you know?
Totally. It's interesting. And I just want to throw this out there as well with small businesses that oftentimes like with Amazon, if we get something, we can leave a review and be like, yeah, this was bad or like whatever. And it's very important to not quickly judge a small business. I've had people recently where, you know, they'll come and then they'll like put a stamp of like judgment instead of just emailing me and being like, hey, I was confused by this. Can you clarify? And I'll be like, what is this? And they're like, oh, got you. Like I had someone show up for a class and they were very late. They were like 10 minutes late. And then they were like, well, the door was locked. And then they left a 1-star rating. And I was like, but what the class was happening, but you were late. And why didn't you just email me and say, hey, I was late, can I have a free class, or can you just delete me out of it? And then they like put a bad like stamp on my thing, and I was upset for like a whole day. I was like, no, but I was like, we didn't do anything wrong, you know? And it was like, and then I was like, everyone's gonna see it and think that I don't care about people. I was like so upset. And then it was interesting. I like ended up emailing that person, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to clarify, like, you know, we just locked the doors for safety. So happy to have you back. And they were like, oh, okay. But like, they couldn't take the star away. And it was like, why didn't you just email me? You know? And so I just want to throw that out there for people when you go to a small business, or if you know, buying something from a small business, if you are a little bit confused by a product or whatever, just email them. Like they want to make you happy and they'll clarify, or, you know, or they'll be like, no, back off. And you're like, okay, well, one star, you know, one star. For sure. Like,
like people, you know, there are people, and like there are people who want to communicate the misunderstanding. They want to help out, and like it makes a very big difference. Like you were saying, you know, I had a friend who makes like Cricut designs on Etsy, and you know, she got this really bad review about the file, and like the file worked fine. It was just the person's computer. Like after they went back and forth emailing, it was like the person's computer that was like messed up, not the file. And you know, it's just the whole thing. But like if you first go to the person, usually with a small business, there's gonna be good customer service. It's really just them wanting to figure things out for the most part. You know, not for all people, but definitely go to the business to see what you can do. There's just a lot more wiggle room and stuff with actually talking to somebody, getting someone like on the phone or over email. And I think a lot of things could definitely be worked out for sure.
Totally. And it's so funny because it's like, maybe they just fell asleep on the couch because they've had been running their small business all day and taking care of their kids and done all these things. And it's like, then they just missed the deadline because they felt, you know, it's like, it's just us, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and what I actually enjoy as well though, is like, I love talking to customer service people like on like the phone. I don't like the robot, or like you have to send an email in to like another robot that then sorts it. You know, I'm just like, what? And so to me, I love when there's another person on the other side. And they're like, oh, let me like look at this. I'm like, I'll be there. I'm the other person. So like, just give me a call. And I'd love to chat with you and figure things out. So I think that was just something that I just had to throw out there, because for people that love to support small businesses or also are like starting to try and be out there, you have to be a little bit more patient. And I'm not saying every time we're not producing, but it is a lovely recognition to just take a breath and be like, okay, what is also, this is a human, this is not a robot. We don't have a machine to be doing all the things. It's just us, and we're doing the best that we can. So funny.
So the Twin Star Yoga, is there like a story behind
the name?
So
I was watching this documentary a while ago, and it was about stars and how actually most stars that you see came from another star. So most stars actually separate.
Yeah.
And I really, and they're called twin stars. And I really love that because we came from something and we have community and we have things that, we're not alone. And even if we feel maybe separate, like we still had something that we came from. And I just loved that concept. So twin star just sort of means you're not alone. You can find your twin star. You can,
So cute. Yeah, we're all from the same source.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all like twin stars.
We are.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I already knew, how community oriented you were and like how good you are at building community. And I think that's just so cool that like even back from originally starting the name, it was still about that like really is your focus.
That's like our core, really. I mean, we want to hold events where people can just come and hang out. We had a community party. I think, you're busy, but I invited us to come to my community party. And it was so funny because I thought it was my 6-month like anniversary of being open. And I was like, we're just going to have fun, have free yoga. And then you can meet all the teachers and chat with them in case you've been wanting to try a class, but didn't know what to expect. There was this lovely guy from Fusion Hydration, Brian. He's the owner of that. And he came and gave free B12 shots and we had food and just like drinks. And it was so fun. And I was talking to my mom and she's like, actually, it's your 5th month. And I was like, it's calculated. But I was still, I love a good party. So
just to celebrate. Yeah.
Exactly. But it was just nice. Like that was really a thing. And it was so fun. And someone came and they were like, can you do more of these? Like, I really like getting out of the house and like, hanging out with everyone. And she stayed like the whole time. It was so cute. So yeah, I just like have an excuse just to hang out with people and get out of the house, do something and do some yoga. And it's wonderful. I want to be like a hub. And like you come and do your beautiful magic bus and I love it. And I want people to see what they have to offer and just sort of like be there and share communities too. Because I have this beautiful community and actually I have these lovely ladies, sisters of the village, and they are going to come all the way from Florida.
Oh wow.
And come into a workshop. And I'm so excited to take the workshop. And it's sort of like a little bit fantastic for me too, because it's like, well, not only do I have this place where amazing people can come, but now I can participate. And
you get to be a part of these workshops.
So I'm so excited for them to come and see all the things that they have to offer. And they really provide growth experiences for women, and they provide amazing opportunities for not only personal growth but personal understanding and grounding, and it's going to be really wonderful. So
that's so cool.
Hi guys, it's actually Sisters That Stray. They are amazing, so go follow them. Sisters That Stray on Instagram. You will not be sorry.
Do retreats as well, right?
So I actually have my 4th retreat in 2 weeks.
Oh nice.
It's going to be in Joshua Tree. Very exciting. So it's 3 nights 4 days up in Joshua Tree, and that was one of the things too is I love wellness retreats and usually they're very expensive. And I haven't been able to really go on too many of them because I'm like, oh yes, I want to go here, and then it's like $4,000 not including the plane, and I'm like, okay, I'll just like stare at my wall instead. I guess I won't be going and doing that. So all of the retreats that I've hosted are under $1,000.
Oh, wonderful.
And everything's included. So it's really wonderful. I won't 100% be able to do that all the time, but I try to always provide at least one retreat a year that is affordable. And so we've gone to Mexico, we've gone to Joshua Tree, Idlewild, and then we did a local one in Vista, California. So it's been great. And we usually just like rent a beautiful Airbnb and we hang out, and it's amazing. The people that come after 1 hour being there, we're all best friends. And we have a lot of yoga, and everything's optional, but we try to jam pack it full of things. We have sound baths, and when we went up to Idlewild, we tried to support the small businesses up there as well. So we like went and got a fresh juice at a juice place. And there was a yoga studio there, and we went and rented the yoga studio just to do one class like in a studio instead of at the house or outside. So it's just been so much fun to create, and I'm excited to do more.
That's great too, because of anyone local. So we're in Southern Orange County. Twin Star Yoga is in San Clemente. So anyone who's local, definitely go to Twin Star.
Well,
But that's great too for people because I know with the retreats, people could come who maybe aren't right there,
totally.
near the studio. And I know that you are so fun to watch on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, we'll put all of the information like in the show notes to follow Twin Star, of course, but you're definitely gonna fall in love with all of her videos. They're very comical and like relatable. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to get people to want to be in your presence. And, maybe if the studio isn't, in the radius for them, hopping on a retreat would be awesome.
So awesome. And everyone is so inviting. And that's what I really love about the community. I haven't had any people that have had, I think people that need it find it.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. And it's really been like a wonderful word of mouth as well. So I think that's really what we're going off of, and people that love something and experience something that they really like, and they're happy to share it. And that's been really fantastic for us. But yes, if you want to come on a yoga retreat, you can email me, very easy. And I'm always trying to really, as I said before, like be a yes woman. So it's really funny because people come up to me, they're like, hey, I'd like to teach this class here. And I'm like, yes. Sure, because if you want to offer it, then I know that people need it, and then you're really interested in providing something special. So Twin Star Yoga is a fantastic place, and we're adding new classes to the schedule all the time.
And
you can check it out.
I'm there. I do the Magic Bus there. So once a month I have my Magic Bus class, which includes a life transformation class, a Reiki hypnosis that goes deeper into what we learned in the class to really integrate things subconsciously, work through your own wounds and shifts and things like that. The Magic Bus is every month. I have it live in person and online. And then you also get the replay when you're on the Magic Bus. So it's okay if you can't make things, while they're happening in real time. But I am at Twin Star hosting the Magic Buzz for my monthly classes.
You gotta come. It's so amazing. I went to one. What was the title?
Oh, that one was I changed the title. I changed it to Ditch Disappointment, Start Receiving.
Yes.
Because that was just like, it fit the class way better.
It was
the direction
so
that it
good.
took way better than what it was originally called.
Yeah. No, I loved it. Her hypnosis, we walked through, you were like, you received everything that you need, your thirst, you drink from a river. And I was like, I'm drinking from the river. It was so good. So I highly recommend joining. And even if you can't come in person, online is fabulous too. So yeah, really, really recommend signing up. And it's a bargain. It's like $33.
Yeah, it's only $33.
It's so worth it. That's the best $33 you'll spend.
It really is. It's I made it to be my most accessible way to really learn from me. The class, the Reiki hypnosis, all included. You get a special discount every month too. So that changes monthly with the class, where it'll be very big discounts as a member. So this month it's 50% off my free bird program. They're very large discounts. And then this month's class is the I Love Mondays class that I mentioned earlier. So if you sign up within, this month is May, if you happen to be listening to this podcast in May of 2023, sign up and you'll get the I Love Mondays class with the 50% off my free bird program.
Do it. It's amazing. And if you want to come by and try Twin Star Yoga, bring a friend. And the first class is only $10. So it's a super bargain as well.
Saw that on your side. I love that.
Yeah. Try it out. See what you like. And what's fabulous too is if you're not a yogi, you want to do bar, you want to do sculpt, you want to do breath work, all the different things, we have it. But also what I like is that all of our classes are all levels. They're beginners friendly. So if you've always wanted to try, I feel like our studio is the place, and not only the place to find your roots, but the place to grow as well. So if you want, to improve your practice and challenge your practice and learn different postures, we're open to it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it's been wonderful having you on.
Thank you. It was so fun.
Very fun. I'm having a great time.
My cheeks are smiling. It's been wonderful.
Do you want to share just where people can find you? And I'll definitely put it all in the show notes as well.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Twin Star Yoga. That's my personal yoga account. And then you can find the studio on Twin Star Yoga Studio. Please go follow it because it has all the updates of all the events that we do, all the ridiculous parties every month, whatever it is.
Every month.
free yoga, things like that. And then you can always find my all my scheduling and stuff on www.twinstaryoga.com. So it's all very simple. And yeah, we're open 7 days a week, so we are always available. And yeah, try to create a sustainable practice. Come in once a week and see how you go. You'll really enjoy it, and I bet you'll want to come back.
Yay, awesome. Yeah, and then for Magic Bus, definitely head to my website, intuitive-instincts.com, and you'll find the Magic Bus tab where you can sign up for this month. And if you happen to be listening to this at a later date, I'm going to be doing the Magic Bus consistently. Like I said, it's a monthly thing. It's $33 to hop on whatever class. You can hop off anytime. So definitely check that out and see whatever month we're in, whatever class and discount is going on for when you're listening.
Yay! So nice to talk to you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Sunny Days podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and catch more of my free content by following me at Alex the Good Witch on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, post it in your stories, and tag me on Instagram. I appreciate your time here with me today. Peace and love to you all, and I will see you in the next episode.